Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. So in the other lecture we studied about the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals. You had studied about different reactions. Now we may move on to the next topic, that is extraction of metals. Okay. Now metals are not available in free form on the surface of the earth. Now for example iron, we need iron in the form of iron and not a compound of iron. We need aluminium in the form of aluminium, pure aluminium, and not in the form of a compound of aluminium. Okay, so from the earth we have to remove the minerals, that means the compound form of that metal, and from that compound we have to extract the metal. This is done in different factories, industries, okay, big industries for extraction of metals, and this comes under the study of metallurgy. Okay, so there are several steps, basically 3 steps which are followed during extraction of metals. First of all, there is a particular mineral on the surface of the earth. Now what is a mineral? The compound form of a metal, that could be called as a mineral. There are different types of minerals on the surface of the earth. The first one, mineral. Okay, page number 99. The compounds of metals that occur in nature along with impurities, that is called as minerals. There is a definition, the last sentence on that page. Okay, so it is a compound form of a metal along with different impurities. Impurities means they are also compounds, but we don't need it. Okay, we need a particular metal in that, and that also it is present in the form of a compound. That compound along with the impurities, it is called as a mineral. Ore. What do you mean by ore? Ore is the form of mineral which we use for extraction of metals. There are different minerals. In some mineral, the concentration of the particular metal which we are looking for is less. In another mineral, the concentration of particular element, particular metal which we want is more. That is said to be an ore. That means the compound from which, the mineral from which the metal can be extracted profitably, and if the concentration is more, then it is said to be an ore. Okay, the definition is on page number 100. The minerals from which the metal can be separated economically are called ores. Economically means the expenditure is less and we are getting more amount of metal. Such mineral is called as ore. So all minerals are not ores, but all ores are minerals. Okay, did you get it? I repeat, all ores are minerals because they are compounds of the metal itself. But all minerals are not ores. We don't use any mineral for extraction of metal. We use only those minerals from which we can extract the metal economically. They are said to be ores. Now, the impurities which we don't need, okay, the impurities, while we are mining a substance, we get the substance along with the impurities. You have to remove the impurities. Okay, impurities means other compounds which we don't need. Okay, so those impurities is called as gangue. We will see the definition. Ores contain many type of impurities such as soil, sand, rocky substances along with the metal compounds. These impurities are called as gangue. Now, the process of extraction of metal in pure state from the ores is also a part of metallurgy. The study of all these come under the topic metallurgy, that is extraction of metals. Now, basically there are 3 steps in this process. The first one is concentration of ore. Concentration of ore means you have to increase the concentration of ore by removing some amount of impurities from it. Okay, some amount of impurities which are remaining stuck to the ores. That process is called as concentration of ore. That means you are increasing the concentration of ore, that particular compound, from the minerals you have got. Second is extraction of metal. So from that ore, that is a particular metal compound, you have got a metal compound, you have to remove the metal from that compound. That process is called as extraction of metal. Now by this process you get a metal by about 90%, 95% or so. You have to make it 100%. That process is called as refining of metals. I repeat, there are basically 3 steps. From a mining industry, you get an ore along with the impurities, that is gangue. So in the first step, that gangue is removed, that is concentration of ore. You get the ore along with some impurities also. In the second case, extraction of the proper metal. The metal which you want, that has been extracted from that particular compound, that comes under the step extraction of metal. Now the metal which you have got by this process is about 90 to 95% pure. You have to make it 99% or 100% pure metal. That process is refining of metals. Now in our syllabus we have the study of concentration of ore, different methods of concentration of ore, different methods of extraction of metal. For extraction of metal, there are different processes for highly reactive metals, moderately reactive metals and low reactive metals. I mean, the processes for highly reactive metal is different. The procedure for moderately reactive metal is different, and the procedure for low reactive metals is different. Okay, we have the study of all these procedures in detail, and refining of metals. Hope you have understood the 3 steps. Okay, now we will see the steps one by one. The first one is concentration of ore. There are several methods of concentration of ore. The first is separation based on gravitation. Gravitation means whether the particle is heavy or light. Heavy, that means weight. The weight is more or less. Okay, so based upon the weight, there are 2 methods which are followed. The first one is Wilfley table method, and the second one is hydraulic separation method. The third method which we are having in our syllabus is magnetic separation method, then froth flotation method and leaching. These methods, we have the study of these methods in detail. We may study all these methods. Now we will see all the methods in detail. The first is separation based on gravitation. That means whether the material or whether the substance is having a heavy weight or light weight. Okay, we can separate based on that. The first one is Wilfley table method. Okay, before that, on page number 100 with the heading concentration of ores, the definition has been given. You may underline that. The process of separating gangue from the ores is called as concentration of ores. Whatever gangue, whatever impurity you can remove by physical process that has been removed, okay, that process, it is called as concentration of ore. The first process is Wilfley table method. Now in that there is a table. This is taken as a table. You may take this as a table which is having a side pipe-like connection. They are having slits. They are having pits in between. Okay, they are having slits in between. There is a pipeline through which water is passed. There are different trays which has been shown in the diagram. You may see the diagram in the textbook. There are different trays. On these trays they put the powdered ore. Whatever ore is coming from the mining industry, that is taken, it is powdered and put onto these trays. From this tray it will fall on this table, and the table is continuously vibrating. Okay, it is continuously vibrating like this. Okay, the table is continuously vibrating. Now when it is continuously vibrating and the water is falling from here, okay, along with the water it is coming, the powdered ore and the water, it will fall on this table. Now due to force of water, the lighter particles, the lighter gangue particles, the particles which are light in weight, in this case it is the gangue particle, we know that we have to carry out the study on that. In this case, gangue is the lighter particle and it will get washed away with the water. Okay, it will get washed away with the water. And the heavier particle, it will get collected in these slits. They are pits. Okay, they are pits, and the heavier particles will get collected in those pits, and they are collected, they are passed through here, and you will get the concentrated ore. This is the process. Okay. Now the next is hydraulic separation method. In hydraulic separation method also, the gangue is lighter in weight and the particular ore compound, the metal compound, is heavier in weight. Now what is done? A tank is taken. Okay, in that tank you have to put the powdered ore. Okay, the powdered ore is added into the tank. It is filled with water. There is a pipe jet. Okay, jet of water. Okay, jet of water which is forcefully inserted into the tank. Now this water it is forcefully inserted, so it will come like this. Okay, while it is moving like that, what will happen? Whatever lighter particles are there, they will go up. Okay, the lighter particles will go up, and those are the gangue particles. The lighter gangue particles are removed by this process, and whatever is remaining below, that ore suspension is heavy, it will contain more amount of metal compound. Okay, the metal compound which we want, that is removed out, and we get the concentrated ore. Okay, the third method is magnetic separation. This is for compounds which are magnetic. Okay, for example, they have given an example in the textbook, that is the ore of tin, that is cassiterite. Cassiterite is a tin ore. It contains mainly non-magnetic ingredient, that is tannic oxide, and magnetic ingredient ferrous tungstate. Okay, now in this case there are two rollers, one is magnetic and other is non-magnetic. I repeat, there are two rollers, one is magnetic and other is non-magnetic. The ore which is coming from the industry, mining industry, it is powdered and it is added in the funnel here. It falls onto the belt. There is a belt which is moving. Okay, the belt which is moving. It will fall onto the belt and it will move. Okay, now the magnetic particles will remain attached for a little bit of time to that belt, and non-magnetic particles will fall away immediately away from the roller. Okay, I repeat, the non-magnetic particles, the particles are coming, the non-magnetic particles will fall like this, and the magnetic particles will get attracted a little and fall a little nearer, isn't it? So there are two collectors kept, one for non-magnetic ingredients and the other for magnetic ingredients. This is especially done for magnetic ore. That means the compound which we want, the metal which we want, we are getting it in the form of a magnetic compound. Okay, so that is magnetic separation. And the next is froth flotation method. Froth means foam, phase. Okay, it is froth. Now what is done? There is a tank which is taken. In that tank you have to put water plus pine oil plus the powdered ore, plus the powdered ore. Okay, the powdered ore. So what is there in this tank? In this tank you have taken water, you have put powdered ore in it, and you have put pine oil in it. Now what you have to do? There is air provision to that particular tank, and there is an agitator. Agitator will move. Okay, just like we make dal. Okay, similarly the agitator will move. When the agitator moves, what is happening inside this tank? There are two types of compounds. One is hydrophilic and other is hydrophobic. What do you mean by hydrophilic? Hydrophilic means which gets wetted by water. That means which dissolve or which has an affinity for water. The other one is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means which does not get wetted by water but by oil which is present in this tank. So what we have added to the tank? We have added water and pine oil and the ore. Okay, now that powdered ore has gangue along with it. Now what is happening? The gangue is hydrophilic, so it will get wetted by water, and the ore, the metal compound which we want, is hydrophobic, so it will get wetted with oil. That means it will remain stuck to the oil, and we are agitating it. As we are agitating it, the oil will get converted into foam. It will get frothen up. It will form a froth above. Okay, it will form a froth above. That froth is removed and we will get the ore here. Okay, and we will get the ore here. Which ore? The ore which has finished concentration. That means we have got the ore itself, but some of the gangue, some of the impurities have been removed. Okay, so these are the four processes. The first one is Wilfley table method. The second is hydraulic separation method, magnetic separation method, and froth flotation method. I repeat, you have to write the statements in the textbook as the answer, but whatever I am telling, it is for you to understand. Wilfley table method, there is a particular table, there is a pipeline of water, and these are the trays. On the tray, the ore is put, powdered ore along with gangue, and the water is made to fall on the trays. Then the water along with the ore, okay, along with the ore, it will fall on this table. As the table is vibrating, the lighter particle which will move more down compared to that of the heavier particles. Here the ore is heavier, so the heavier ore particles will get collected in the slits, which is removed, and the gangue particles are lighter and it will get washed away. Next, hydraulic separation method. There is a tank in which the powdered ore is added. The water jet is passed. Due to the water jet, the lighter particles will go up, lighter gangue particles will go up, and the heavier ore particles will remain down, which is collected. Magnetic separation method is for magnetic ores. The powdered ore is put onto two rollers. There are two rollers. One is magnetic, other is non-magnetic. The magnetic ore will fall in this collector. Okay, it will remain stuck to the magnet for a little amount of time. The other will fall immediately. That is the non-magnetic ingredient. Okay, so we will get the ore. Next is froth flotation method. There is a tank in which you have added water plus pine oil plus the powdered ore. You have to get rid of some gangue from the powdered ore. You are agitating, you are moving, you are making it move, making the particles move. At the time of moving, due to that agitation, what will happen? The gangue is hydrophilic and it will remain wetted by water and it will remain in the tank, but the ore is hydrophobic. It will get wetted by oil. It will form a froth, and that froth is removed. Along with that froth, you are getting the desired ore. Okay, so this is about the different methods. One method is left, that is leaching. Leaching method is of pure chemical reactions which are carried out. Okay, you have to put the ore in a particular chemical and the reactions will take place, and due to those reactions the impurities are removed. That process is called as leaching. You may see on page number 102. Okay, 102. The ore is soaked in a certain solution for a long time. The ore dissolves in that solution due to a specific chemical reaction. The gangue does not dissolve. So if you filter it, the gangue will be removed and in the solution you will get the desired ore. So these are the different processes in concentration of ore. Now we'll see the next. Okay, I had left this topic on page number 98. It is an introduction about ionic compounds. What are ionic compounds? We have studied about ionic compounds. A cation and an anion combine together to form an ionic compound. Okay, a cation, which is a positive ion, and an anion, which is a negative ion, combine together to form by ionic bond to form ionic compound. Okay, ionic compounds are electrically neutral. Okay, why ionic compounds are electrically neutral? Because the charges are equal, positive and negative. Next point is ionic compounds are crystalline in nature. Why they are crystalline in nature? Because they are arranged, the positive ions and negative ions are arranged in a particular manner. That is why it is crystalline in nature. Two of the important factors responsible for a certain crystal structure. Okay, why it is crystalline in nature? The first point is size of positively and negatively charged ions and magnitude of electric charge on the ions. More the magnetic charge, more the electric charge, more the structure of the crystal. Okay, so this is about introduction about ionic compounds. Now the next, there is an activity. You have to take some compounds like sodium chloride, potassium iodide, barium chloride and water, and you have to dip 2 electrodes in it, which is connected to a bulb. You have to see whether the bulb will glow or not. You may see that the bulb will glow in case of sodium chloride, barium chloride and potassium iodide. Why? Because they are ionic compounds. Water, pure water, do not conduct electricity. Okay, now we may move on to the next topic, that is general properties of ionic compounds. This is a 3-mark question, very important question, frequently asked question. Now we'll see what are the properties of ionic compounds. First, they generally occur in solid state and they are hard. Now hard means it is not that hard that it cannot be broken by beating, by hammering. Now if you hammer it, it can be powdered, it can be broken into pieces. That is the next property. It is brittle. Ionic compounds are brittle in nature. So the first property is it is in solid state generally and they are hard in nature. Second, it is brittle. It can be broken into pieces if pressurized. Next, high melting point and boiling point. The ionic bond between the two ions, positive ion and negative ion, is very strong. Due to that strong force of attraction, it is difficult to separate the ions. That is why the melting point and boiling point of ionic compounds are high. This is a give reason frequently asked. The third point, complete, it is the answer for that. The intermolecular force of attraction is high in ionic compounds and the energy needed to overcome it is greater. That is why its melting point and boiling point is higher. Okay. Next is ionic compounds are water soluble. Okay, it is water soluble, soluble in water but insoluble in organic solvents like kerosene and petrol, because water can enter in the spaces between the ions because the ions are having affinity for water, but there is no force of attraction between the ionic compounds, the ions and kerosene or petrol. So the ionic compounds do not dissolve in kerosene or petrol, but it dissolves in water. That is the fourth property. Fifth property is in solid state, okay, in the powder form or in the crystal form, they do not conduct electricity. But if they are dissolved in water, that means if it is in the solution form or if it is melted, if it is fused, then they can conduct electricity. So what is the point? Ionic compounds do not conduct electricity in solid state, but they can conduct electricity in solution form or molten form, that is the fused state. The 5 points in the textbook, you have to write all the 5 points. It is a 3-mark question. You can reduce the 4th and 5th points into these points itself. Okay, So these are the points. First one, it occur in solid state and it is hard. They are brittle. They have high melting and boiling points. They are soluble in water but insoluble in organic solvents like kerosene and petrol. They conduct electricity in they do not conduct electricity in solid state, but they conduct electricity in solution form or fused form or molten form. Okay, now there is a table, figure 8.6. You may see a non-ionic compound, that is water. What is the melting point? It is 0 and the boiling point is 100, whereas all others are ionic compounds, and you may note the melting point and boiling point of those compounds. You don't have to learn, don't have to by heart the table. Okay, you just have to note the difference between ionic compounds and non-ionic compounds. So today we have studied about the different methods, different steps, different methods of concentration of ore, and about properties of ionic compounds. You may go through the textbook. If you are having any doubt, you may ask. Thank you.